All those little serves came in. Yeah. Yeah. I was like,
So you can have it here for now. I can see things. Okay. Yeah. Are you going to transfer the things? They come all of our meetings. We can start checking in.
Insight from the eye.
Full sensory experience.
Oh,
I don't know, actually. I don't know today because everything should be. They didn't mention anything. I think it'll be the same one. Yeah.
This meeting is now being recorded.
I'm not trying to. Hello, everyone. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get work.
I know. Oh.
All right, we're gonna reconvene to open session. 6:07. Please be advised that this meeting will be recorded, capturing both images and audio. 4.2, report of actions taken in closed session. None. Attendance roll call. President Roderick Allen, here. Clerk Reed. Here. Trustee Lopez Jones. Trustee Rios. Here. Trustee Gonzalez. Here. Student Representative Clavell. 4.4, pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, and justice for all. 4.5 district mission statement. We're a collaborative, culturally rich educational community where rigorous and innovative curriculum prepares our students to be successful contributors to our global society. 5.1 public business on the floor, non-agenda items. This portion of the agenda allows an individual the opportunity to address the board on any item regarding board business that is not on the agenda. Without taking action or entering into a dialogue with the public, board members may briefly respond to statements made or ask clarifying questions about topics posed by the public. Your matter may be referred to administration. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. So I have one public comment that was sent in that's non-agenda related. So I'm going to read it, and if there are others that are non-agenda related, bring your cards up so we can introduce you when you're ready to speak. Does that make sense? Okay, so Cal Service Reward Trustees. As an avid program tutor, I've seen a tremendous decline in the level of understanding among all students in the junior class at Math 2 and 3 levels. The fact that the most consistent teacher took leave and students have been given a virtual substitute teacher is a big problem. Most students are flustered, and I learned that 64% of this class has a D or F grade at this point in the semester. They are applying to colleges and meet UC requirements for not meet UC requirements for admission. 2 students that I know of have been given additional tutoring help for a limited time, 4 to 6 weeks, which is not functional. The 9th grade level students are failing math as well. And I've heard senior class math grades are DF for average students at a 70% rate. This is disgraceful for our students to not have the support they need. The math department needs to reevaluate their methods and implement better practice. District is accountable for this failure of providing good educational practices and ought to respond to this problem quickly so that our students have a chance to learn and to succeed. Thank you. Next, we have Alexa Navarrete. Fall semester math process and grades. Hello. Oh, there you go. Hi, I'm going to you today from the honors math analysis class and on behalf of the math 3 class. And I just wanted to come here today to share with you some surveys, a survey that we had collected for the students of the math 3 and the honors math analysis class. So over this fall semester, we wanted to ask the students about their experience, how this year has been for them. And for our survey that we collected, we asked several questions, including how has your math experience been this year? How relevant and helpful the material was? Do you feel that you have received sufficient instructions and understanding the material? And then we also asked for their grades and also how this semester has impacted their grade. So for the first question, majority responded that their math experience this year has been, we qualified this as a 1 out of 5. From 1 to 5, how has their math experience been? And 26 out of 58 students said that their math experience, they would qualify it as a 1. And then when asked about how relevant the material they have been learning is to them, they also qualified it as a 1. 25 students responded out of the 58, saying that it is a 1. When asked about how sufficient or the sufficient instructions received for the material and how they understand it, most said that they did not believe they received the sufficient instruction to understand the material in each class. And as mentioned, The majority of the classes are receiving D and F grades. So that's something that we also asked about, the grades for each class. And 86.7% additionally mentioned that this semester has negatively affected their grades. Additionally, when asked about how confident they feel about the topics covered in math this semester, majority responded with a 2, because this is qualified from the 1 to 5. So most responded with a 2, saying that they feel kind of confident, not really there yet. Also, when asked about how effective the math tutor was, they said that it was a 2, not very effective, but some did find it very effective. Additionally, we asked how concerned were they about their education requirements. Everybody, basically like 35 students out of 58 commented that they are very concerned with their education requirements and are very concerned about their math grades this semester. Additionally, we did have some comments from each student, from all the students. And I don't know if we have enough time to share them, but we are here in hopes that some changes can be made to this semester, and that hopefully the board can hear our voices and do something. And hopefully, you know, we're hopeful that this semester, the next semester to come, we will see a change. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Before you leave, can I ask a question? I know that you shared the survey with Cynthia.
Yes.
Can I share that survey with the board?
Yes, of course.
Okay, then I will make sure that they get a copy of it, and I'm assuming the comments are on there.
Yeah.
And you'll get a copy of it. Okay,
Perfect.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Thank you for your comments. Heather Brooks regarding algebra 1, math 1, and 8th grade placement test.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Heather Brooks. I'm the high school science teacher and have 3 children in the school district. And I want to start off by saying how incredibly proud I am of our students right now, because we're all here discussing the need for more math. And that is something to be celebrated, not discouraged. When you have a population that values education, you have a population that is advancing as a community, and when you have advancements in community, you have advancements in the global society. Small movements always domino into larger changes, and this is a positive movement. Because we're all here in the effort to move forward and advance the needs of math for our students, I couldn't be more proud as a parent, teacher, and community member than I am here today. So whatever you hear today, please do not take it in a negative way. None of this is intended to be hurtful or aggressive, only to push for a positive change for our students and community at large. I also care deeply about math, and that's why I'm here today, to share my personal experience as both a teacher and a parent in regards to the 7th grade math placement requirements and tests for Algebra 1, now Math 1, and how it negatively impacts our students and seems contrary to California Ed Code EDC 51224.7, Senate Bill 359, California Mathematics Placement Act of 2015. This information I share comes from the personal experience of my family and as a teacher here who works with students in high school as they get closer to graduating and are working on college applications. Currently, and since I've been working at the school for the past 10 years, all the students in 7th grade are asked to take a test to determine if they will be allowed to enter into Algebra 1 in 8th grade. It is my understanding that students are also required to have at least an A- in the class. MAP scores are reviewed, and they must pass the 1 placement test with at least a 90%, and teacher recommendation is required. If they do not pass with 90% accuracy, they are not allowed into Algebra 1 in 8th grade. Also, contrary to state recommendations, their past math scores are not considered. Even if a student has an 8th grade and has passed the state math test, prior year, they will not be allowed into this class if they do not pass this test with a 90%. Or if they simply do not take the test, which happened during COVID to students, they will not be allowed into Algebra 1 in 8th grade. Why does this matter so much? Because if they do not pass this test and start Algebra 1 in 8th grade, they will never make it to calculus as a senior at our school. Why does that matter? Because both colleges advise requests and some require students that apply at certain STEM or engineering majors to have already graduated high school with calculus. This is because the STEM or engineering classes they will take in college are based on calculus math prerequisites. I want to share my personal experience with how this happened to my oldest son first. My oldest son had a B- grade in 7th grade math, and he had passed the prior year's math state test with standard med. He took that placement test and did not pass it with a 90%. As a parent and science teacher here, I had no clue what this meant overall for him or how it would really impact his future. I just remember getting an email saying Logan didn't pass the test, he didn't have an A- grade, and he would go into 8th grade math next year and not Algebra 1. I don't teach math and was unaware of how much this would impact his overall math and education in college. I do remember questioning why, because he was a good student and had a B- and met the math standard level on the math state assessment and standard exceeded for state English tests the prior year as well. The decision didn't seem right to me, but I was told no, he doesn't have the prior knowledge, he's not allowed. I didn't like this, but I thought, oh, well, the teacher made the final decision, and I thought in my head, Logan's just going to catch up in high school because he's a good student. This put him on a track that I didn't realize was a bad situation until this year as a senior. For the first time ever, I was helping him through college applications, and we visited and talked to college advisors and found out that if he wanted to be an electrical engineering major, they expected him to come with calculus. They showed us how if he did not, there would be an extra year added to his expected 4-year college graduation date, and this was all because the classes for his major needed the prerequisite of calculus. I'm sure you're all aware how expensive college is, and the thought of an extra $40,000 plus year all because of one class is not easy to digest. Now my son and I realize we have to have him take calculus over the summer prior to college. This was no big deal as well. Logan has always continued to hold steady A's and B's throughout his high school math classes. But then he unfortunately had a math teacher leave this semester, and as the students have presented today, his level of math learning went down. Logan and I were so worried about his ability to even be at the needed math level now that we found a class at Santa Rosa JC. Pre-calculus algebra trig review, 6 units. This class is equal to 2 college math class, but he's so far behind that we don't want him to do poorly on the calculus in the summer because this could actually mess with his college acceptance. Our other concern is whether UC colleges or any scholarships he really wants will accept him as an electrical engineering major now for these 2 reasons. He's not only considered 1 year behind in this math, but additionally he was struggling without a proper math teacher, and his current grade on less material than he normally would have at this point is a C. This is the first time he's ever had a C in high school math, and he's really trying hard, studying a lot, but struggling with the loss of a permanent math teacher. The colleges may check in on him specifically and do a grade check to see if he can deal with a higher level math. And we feel we're too late now because I would have helped him get to that Santa Rosa JC pre-calculus class had I known the teacher was going to leave. We just hope that they don't check on him because this could be a loss for his UC level schools or scholarship applications that he really wants. The same story repeated with my second son. At this point, I still didn't realize the full ramifications, but the only saving grace was that Troy loved math. I mean, he loved math so much, he talked about becoming a math teacher in elementary and junior high. He talked about how he would pull his math book out when he was bored just to read it. But he had a B, not an A- in the class, and he took that test, and even he didn't pass it with a 90%. He was close though, so that was the only difference. I got another email saying Troy didn't pass, didn't have an A-, so wouldn't be ineligible next year. But this time I argued very hard because math was all Troy wanted to do at school. I begged the teacher, shared his love of math, and they finally agreed to let him in, but said he would be watched closely and could be dropped. And guess what? He got an A in both semesters. He was more than fine. I'm glad I fought for him and regret not doing it for Logan. That's why I'm here today, to help other students. No student should be prohibited from entering into that class if they want to take it and have an A or B, or even if they have a C with parent permission. They should factor in the whole child. Their ability as a student should be considered by looking at their math grades and checking in on their state math tests and lowering the percentage rate to include B grades. And additionally, I think a C on the test with parent permission is acceptable. I say this because some of my top students had a C in that class and ended up with all A's and B's throughout their entire high school career because they're good students and hard workers. My final story shows as a teacher here. As you know, I work with students and MIT. After our presentation at MIT, they had an interest in our top 2 engineers who were both excellent students. They suggested both of them apply to the Might Summer program this February, which would allow them to apply to MIT this upcoming summer and participate in a program for talented STEM students who may need more academic support so that they could achieve the highest level SAT, ACT scores and get into MIT. But they mentioned and asked about their math. They said they would need to be in calculus as seniors. This is actually when I realized I was not the only one experiencing the problem this test has caused. The students had also been A and B students in 7th grade that were not allowed into Algebra 1 in 8th grade because of those requirements. But because I had already been helping my oldest son, I showed them the Santa Rosa JC pre-calculus class, and they additionally signed up for the school 5 to 8 p.m. Tuesdays, Thursdays next semester for the 6-unit class to be on track. Even with adding to their full-time high school load just to apply for their dreams. My other son is additionally taking the class because he loves math so much and wants to make sure he gets into college well prepared. He shared concerns as well about failing the next semester and wanted to be prepared for college math requirements because he doesn't feel like he's learning as much without his teacher. I also wanted to say that I have seen some other MIT student transcripts as well, besides the top 2 engineers I mentioned, and they have similar transcripts and stories. They also were not allowed into Algebra 1 in 8th grade based on the requirements. There are many other students I'm sure that have similar problems with we, who hold privilege and support from MIT, all have the same problem.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We're well over the 3 minutes, so can you,
I'm just getting to ed code. Can I just actually try? Last, I want to share with Ed Code, which could apply to the situation. California Code Education Code EDC 51224.7, Senate Bill 359, the California Math Placement Act of 2015. As it says in this code called the Math Placement Act of 2015, schools should use more than one academic measurement of a pupil into consideration for math placement and progress if their grade is B or better, or testing at proficient or advanced proficiency on state assessments. To quote directly, it says systematically taking multiple objective academic measures of pupil performance into consideration, including class assignments, grades, and report cards. And then I'll just go down to the bottom. It continues under section 1. The legislature finds and declares all the following. C. The most egregious examples of math misplacement occur with successful pupils and disproportionately with successful pupils of color. These successful pupils are achieving a grade or B or better, are testing at proficient or even advancing proficient on state assessment. It continues to say, and I quote, mathematics misplacement has far-reaching impacts on pupil confidence, general knowledge of math concepts, and high school experience, and may also impact the college career opportunity available to pupils. B. New research shows that it's less common for pupils of color, even high-achieving pupils of color, to reach calculus by grade 12 compared to their white and Asian peers. F. All pupils, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, or socioeconomic background, deserve an equal chance to advance in mathematics. So in summary, I just want to say that I feel like if the code was actually followed, then these students would actually be in calculus the senior year. And so I've given you my son's math transcripts and then his math transcripts as well, so you can take a look. Those are just a couple, but I wasn't able to share the confidential students transcripts with you as well. So please consider changing that. Jim. Thank you. Next, we're going to section 6 and administer the oath of office for the elected trustees.
So this is our annual December organizational meeting, and we have 3 board members that have been reelected as board members for the next 4 terms. So if I could have Mr. Rudy Gonzalez, Ms. Laurel Rios, and Ms. Stephanie Jane Rockwood. Oh, it isn't Laurel. I'm sorry. Rudy. Rudy, Stephanie, and Matt. If you could take some research. Repeat after me. Yes, raise your hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Thank you for your service.
Okay, next we're on 6.2, consider nominations and appoint the governing board for president for 2005.
So can I interrupt really quickly to come up one more public comment, that's knowledgeable related. So Karen, come to the podium. Regarding the map system.
Hello, for the meeting. My name is Kari Kepo. I'm a junior in honors math analysis. And I'm going to talk about the point of view as an advanced student in math analysis. I feel like right now, if you're an advanced student placement in math analysis, you start to see opportunities, even more support in the math system, especially if you're trying to reach the point of either doing pre-calculus or AP stats, and you're senior year, especially me wanting to be an engineer, and I just feel like we want to be here, and we want to be seen, to have opportunities, if even as more teacher, which is what, and we just want to feel supported, and we just having that support, we all wanna have special advanced student in math. And I feel like my perspective, I didn't have such a long semester this year, but this year has been really hard because our official teacher and having an online teacher that is not really present there, it's really hard to have communication and to have a good system that is there to support you. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment. Okay, so we're going back to 6.2, consider nominations and appoint the governing board for president for 2025. Can I have a motion?
You did serve one right here as president.
I second. Thank you, Wayne. All in favor? Okay, next we're going to consider nominations to appoint the governing board clerk for 2025. Can I have a motion?
To nominate Matt Reed, continue.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so next we'll establish the dates and times of meetings. Trustees will discuss the proposed meeting dates for the 2024 calendar year and then our virtual dates. So there are any discrepancies with any dates that we might want to change? No. again, I think I said this at the last meeting, but another day was on the 14th. And my question was regarding the August 18th date, because I know we wanted to meet after the first week or 3 days of school, since we haven't established the first day of school, for that date tentatively changed depending on. Yes, so what we could do is adopt all of these dates and then we'll adopt the calendar if we start before or after that, we can look at changing the date as well as. Just because I know the new year is a crazy time for everybody, so putting a board meeting right now that would be challenging. Thank you for that. Ms. Conyers, with some motion.
So adopt the proposed meeting dates for the calendar for the coming year.
All in favor? Aye. 6.6 CJUSD board governance handbook. So this is our time to review the handbook. Are there anything in there that you would like to adjust or change prior to the joint meeting? Thank you. All right, report 7.1 student representative.
Hello everyone, so I am
Here to discuss the situation, just like my peers. So the challenges with the math department
have created an overwhelming work for
students, jeopardizing their hard-earned academic achievements and future college aspirations. Specifically, math theory and math analysis courses have been hit particularly hard due to inconsistent specialized instruction. When a regular teacher learned to turn a substitute teacher was assigned to a class. While this teaching, a genuine effort to support us, it quickly became evident that the lack of specific expertise required to effectively teach high school level math. As a result, students were left without the guidance necessary to understand the material, and for weeks we struggled as new concepts built on each other without sufficient instruction. To address this, we eventually received help in the form of an online tutor. However, the curriculum provided by the online tutor often did not align with what our teacher had been teaching us, causing further confusion. The mismatch between the online instruction and our expected coursework left students in an even more difficult position, forcing us to piece together our understanding of the material with little consistency. Another key issue has been the process for taking skill checks, which are short tests that are critical to our grades. This process requires students to email the teacher on leave who must then coordinate with another math teacher on campus to approve and schedule retakes. This system is inefficient and unresponsive, with students often waiting days or even weeks for a reply. This delay has caused unnecessary stress and has made it nearly impossible for many students to recover their grades in time. The effects of these challenges have been devastating. Most of the students affected by this situation are not failing due to a lack of effort or ability. Many are AUB students who have worked hard throughout high school to maintain a strong academic record. This semester, however, has pushed through the most energy students looking to forward. Seniors in particular are grappling with the added pressure of college applications and scholarship deadlines. The possibility of having subpar grades required to college undermines the years of hard work being dedicated to reaching this point and can negatively impact our admissions prospects. As students, we understand the importance of accountability and the consequences of our actions, but the real issue here is the lack of structure and support. This situation is not a reflection of student effort. It's a failure on the part of the system to provide the resources and instruction needed to succeed. We are asking the administration to consider waiving or adjusting grades for students who have been affected by this challenge. Additionally, we need additional resources in this semester to help us recover from these setbacks while staying track of the curriculum. These steps are crucial to ensuring that this semester's challenges don't negatively affect our future success. Thank you for your attention to this matter. We hope that by working together, we can provide solutions that prioritize student success and prevent situations like this from happening in the future. Thank you for your report. Are there any questions?
I just wondered what options are available, what flexibility does the school have?
And it was about,
Thank you for bringing these concerns to our attention, both to the students that shared tonight as well as for our student representative. I will share that last Friday, Ms. Craig Mellis and I went into the class and talked with the students, solicited information, took some notes, big questions that I did type up and shared with the teacher. Although he is on leave, I did communicate with him briefly and did get some responses to some of the concerns. Not all of the questions have been answered to date, but we are working through them. And so as far as resources, sorry, Mr. Reed, back to your question. There is tutoring right now, currently 1 day a week with Ms. Rake, as well as cat advisory time on Thursdays. I want to just bring up the point about this, the retakes, the skill checks. One point of clarification that did come up is that as part in the final, it will basically be a reassessment of all skills. So if students did not get an opportunity to retake one of their skills assessments, which there was expressed concern about, the final will take place. The final can replace those skill checks, if that makes sense. So some of the other details we shared were around grade validation. Second semester grade can validate first semester, meaning if a student gets a grade higher than a C, so if currently they have a D or F, and second semester they get a B or C, minimum C, then that grade with some other requirements could then override the first semester grade. So I did review that with students on Friday. It is something that the math department usually reviews second semester at the start of second. So I did ask the teacher permission to share those details with the class before the end of the semester, which I know he's going to review when he returns after the new year. And I do want to honor the fact that currently the grade validation is for students with D's and F's. And I did have students bring to our attention that if they have a C right now and they really want to be competitive, they want to have an A or B, then grade validation would need to be opened up for those students as well, not just for students who have D's and F's. So again, we are working through the problem. So I appreciate the questions and the details that need to be worked out. I also want to bring to light the concern that I have talked to some of my colleagues about and some students about is the worry and concern about some colleges that students have applied to that may ask for mid-year transcripts. So originally, when we opened this conversation, it seemed that most colleges request transcripts at the end of senior year, right? So they applied in November, no first semester grades are available because we're not done with first semester, and then final transcripts are submitted at the end of the school year. However, in conversations, what has come up is that some schools, depending on the major, and other maybe applications, or whether maybe the student is competing in an area that's in demand, then that school could request a mid-year transcript. We don't have specific numbers on how many kids in the past few years have been requested to turn in mid-year transcripts, but that is a detail that I do want to bring to the math department's attention as soon as possible. So just so that if that does occur, could we do grade validation sooner, right? So instead of maybe waiting till end of second semester, could we push it up so that if a university did request a transcript, say in March, could a first semester grade be changed by March and not until the end of the year? One last piece that I'll just share about grade validation, which our college experts have shared, that colleges, when looking at transcripts, if a student does have a lower grade first semester and a higher grade second semester, they will take the second semester grade and make that the same for the first semester. However, that doesn't mean, well, the student's GPA is still impacted, right? So if a student has a D on their transcript first semester and an A, B, or C second semester, that lower GPA because of the D could impact financial aid, could impact potential to get scholarships. So that is, I think, yet another detail and dig into grade validation that we need to work on cleaning up.
Thank you.
What about the kids that are involved in athletics? So, I mean, what if they can't go to the tutoring that's offered on Thursdays? What happens to them?
So the question was for students who are in athletics and can't attend tutoring. While Cat Advisory is a shorter amount of time, 30 minutes on Thursdays, it would be highly recommended that students make an effort to sign up on Thursdays to go see one of the math teachers. And I think Kenny and we have also been talking about adding more math tutoring, so that is an option as well for second semester.
That was going to be my question, but first I want to say, to Jane, thank you for bringing this, the other students. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, that your role, on this board is precisely to come and talk to us about what's happening with you and your students in the campus, those issues that can be talked about at this board level and find solutions for it. So my question is, how long has this situation been going on? Is it one or two semesters that the teacher is in now, or like some clarification on that?
I believe the teacher's first day out was October 23rd. So we did have a substitute teacher who is still in the class for, I think, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I'll have to check the date. And we did hire through Full Mind Learning, which is an online credentialed teacher, to Zoom into the classroom. So there's an online credentialed teacher as well as a long-term sub teacher in the classroom. So since approximately October 23rd.
We can't get into too much details when it comes to personnel, but I would like Michael to weigh in the fact that we did go with them, because of the situation I'm currently.
Sure. First, I'd like to start by just commending our students on how articulate and confident and impressive. So thank you. I don't know if this is a problem that we're going to solve tonight. To bring it forward and let us have some discourse is the right thing to do. And I can speak to some degree to this. When you have a teacher who's out on leave for 10 weeks, in all honesty, that is a hard situation to be in and to provide effective instruction. And this happens honestly multiple times a year. When a teacher goes out on short-term leave, we post those jobs publicly. And in this case, you're trying to find a teacher not just with a math credential, but with a high-level math credential to fill a 10-week absence. And those people don't really exist. You might find a retired teacher, maybe, but math teachers otherwise are employed. You're not offering a full year of employment. So to think that you could find a credentialed high-level math teacher is unlikely. And this is going to happen potentially in AP history or AP bio. Those are very tough situations. In this case, we took an unprecedented step to bring in an outside instructor who had an advanced math degree and credential to teach this class virtually. Not something we've done before. It's actually quite an expense to do that, but we thought that was the right thing to do. Now, did that provide effective instruction? Obviously not. Did it resolve the issue? Obviously not. So we're going to have to think about what can we do next. That's the situation that we're in. Ultimately, I think your point was right, that we as a system need to make sure that we're providing students with the resources and support that they need to be successful. And if that hasn't been done, then we're going to have to figure out how to hit pause and make sure that it happens. One part, whenever we solve a problem, right, we do it collaboratively. And so there are members of this conversation that are not here tonight that need to be at the table. We need a math teacher at the table. So Ms. Brooks concerns the systematic issues, we need the math team at the table. I can commit to the district taking this seriously. We can be in those conversations, but when that happens, it needs to have all those parties at the table.
So can you elaborate a little bit more on what are the steps that you're taking? Since you mentioned providing, Cat Advisory is solving certain benefits of help. You mentioned that there will be more And stuff like that. What would, yes, be happening, we need to, figure it out.
So she does help the students. Right, so we are, finals essentially start tomorrow. And then everyone goes up for 3 weeks. So the questions I have posed to the teacher who will be returning to address some of the grade questions, right? The grade questions around, I know some questions surfaced around the final, like what percent is the final worth? How will that impact my overall grade? Those questions I have to defer to the teacher who is not currently here. As far as tutoring, I think we can definitely commit to offering more tutoring. That was requested by students and something that we can work on so that we have tutoring available at the start of second semester. Obviously, we need to work on a creative schedule because everyone has competing things, right? And so I think it is something that we will continue to work on and continue to solicit feedback from the students. I did share with students as well that as part of the final, while not graded, just we as a school would like to hear from students as well. I know students conducted their own survey, which they have shared with me. I appreciate that. We also want to be able to give some feedback to the teacher so that when he returns, he knows what's happened in his absence so that he can help address some of those learning gaps as well. So as part of the final, I did share with students, I was going to ask them for just an open reflection. They don't have to use their name if they want to remain anonymous, just to give us some feedback on what they feel would help them feel more successful second semester. I mean, I guess just in addition to what Scott said is that beyond just after school, so part of these conversations we have in class, students there, but again, teaching that right after break, so those opportunities will have class time as well. So we would like to think that we will be sure for some support.
Because he's coming to the problem, and then you were coming back to the problem, so we need to think about what kind of support we can help the students.
Right, so I'm replacing posted at SAC teachers.
We appreciate that the district created a discussion forum to meet with parents in the community and talk about the dual language immersion program. It was great to directly communicate with parents and share our commitment to these students and their futures. We're also having discussions about selecting a new color for the cat shirt, one that shows our unity while not making it so intimidating. And we invite any parents or community members to approach us if you ever see us on an event and would like to talk, regardless of the color that we're wearing, because we're on the same team when it comes to doing our best for your kids, the students. Thank you.
Questions? Speaking as a parent, I appreciate the change of color shirts that we give our parents. All right, next we're on to 7.3 Classified School Employees Association.
No more.
Yeah. 7.4 Melissa Elementary School Principal.
Good evening, everyone. So our report is brief, just because it's been a pretty short time since our last board meeting. With respect to LCAP Rule 1, ensuring academic excellence for all students. Because of the SARC next month, just want to highlight that we are continuing to work with PLC. So last month, our teachers identified one essential standard for Braille, which was recommended in our training. And next month in January, we're going to take that essential standard and break it into learning targets. And an exciting application that we're going to be using to help in that process is incorporating AI or artificial intelligence in that process.
And we have experimented with a little bit, and it does seem to be a very worthwhile application to do this. And this will be the first time that we're formally doing that at Cal State Elementary School. With respect to LCAP goal number 2, providing a safe, healthy, and positive school environment. This month, we presented our updated standardized emergency management system chart to staff and also to our school site council. We did make recommended adjustments, and then we also had our teachers and our classified staff look through the lens of their assigned roles to determine potential needs such as training and supplies. And our goal is to set up the training and the practice to support the SENS plan. This month we have our winter music concerts, and this year we separated our groups by TKK, grades 1 through 3 and 4 through 6. And I have a huge thank you for our teachers and our music directors for the organization and their support of music. And it was also nice to have these concerts again in December, as last year they had to be postponed. This week is Spirit Week at Cal State Elementary School. And so Monday I actually changed out my dress. It was supposed to be Grinch Day, but the color was a little bright. So I thought I'd spare you, but you can see there's still some folks in their Grinch wear. And then tomorrow's going to be Candy Cane Day, Twin Day. I think we also have a Pajama Day at the end. So we're going to have an activity each day. So hopefully everyone got on their parent score each of the weeks of the day. And with respect to LCAP goal number 3, increasing parent engagement and enhancing communication. So a challenge we did have was when we did have to close school on November 22nd. That was our final day of parent conferences. I really want to commend our teachers. They did an excellent job of communicating with their parents. Also, our school secretary, Barbara Fontanes, worked with teachers to reschedule those conferences. And we appreciate the value of the parent conferences and creating that space where we can focus on individual students. And I'm also grateful to our parent community for their flexibility in scheduling those conferences. So that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
You know that
In my house. You know my daughter at all, you know, she wants to wear pajamas. So thank you for that. 7.5, Cal State Junior Senior High School Principal. Good evening. Regarding LCAP goal number 1, ensuring academic excellence for all students. Cal State Junior Senior High School is closing out the first semester of the school year on December 20th. Final exams for the first semester will occur December 17th through the 20th, with our minimum days Wednesday through Friday. Our staff have determined that one of the 2 school-wide standards that we will be working on is the College and Career Readiness Standard. We work closely to determine what the text says explicitly and to make logical inferences from it. Cites specific textual evidence when writing or speaking to support conclusions drawn from the text. Integrated team staff are breaking down the standard to determine essential skills and how they will be assessed. During the month of November, Cal State Junior Senior High started our after-school APEX program to give students an opportunity to make up a course they need for graduation or A through G eligibility. We will continue to run this program after school throughout the year. Currently, we have 7 students enrolled, and this number will fluctuate through June as needs arise. The APEX program is currently only open to 11th and 12th graders who need to repeat a course taken prior. Some students are also working with our migrant education program advisor and completing credit recovery through Cyber High, which is another online program. In regards to LCAP Goal 2, provide a safe, healthy, and positive school environment. CJSHS is working closely with Up Valley Family Centers to provide counseling services for students who need a higher level of care and support. Students are referred by parents, staff, or themselves for these services. Students can also opt in or can be referred to Aldea for drug and alcohol counseling, which provides resources for prevention. Cal State Junior Senior High is looking forward to the addition of a wellness specialist.
who will complement and help coordinate the multi-tiered services we currently provide. One safety measure on campus that doesn't always get a lot of attention is our campus supervisor. He is a graduate of Cal State Junior Senior High and has been an asset to our school campus and community since he began in this role. He provides additional supervision, support, and safety for all on our campus. He keeps our campus safe by ensuring that non-students and staff are not entering the campus without permission. He has also helped support students who are in emotional distress and are not feeling well by escorting them to the office to get the support they need. He is the extra eyes and ears on our campus and promotes safety for all on our campus. In regards to LCAP Goal 3, increased parent engagement and enhanced communication, CJSHS holds coffee with the principal the first Thursday of each month here in the NPR. The next one will be January 16th at 8:30. We also host site council meetings, Silver Crab meetings, and we are forming an athletic booster meeting, which is actually happening right now, to revive our former athletic parent group. The Cal State PTO is the overarching group that is supporting both Silver Grad and athletic boosters. So we thank our PTO parents and that committee for helping us. CJSHS Athletics hosted actually last week in the Duffy basketball tournament, Thursday through Saturday. There were 16 teams, actually one backed out. So there were 15 teams that played over the course of 3 days. And we appreciate all of the families and friends and parents who volunteered their time to support the event. That concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Next up, Director of Educational Services and Human Resources.
All right, good evening. Since I'm presenting the California dashboard tonight, I'm going to forego my typical board report. I will say, it's a wonderful time of year. It's a time for reflection, for giving thanks. I want to express my gratitude to the district, to the board. I feel so fortunate to work in Calistoga. I actually think tonight was just a great example of what makes us special. Civil and respectful conversation about what's working, what's not, and how to be better. That's not something you see every day. I turn on the news and I watch national news. You don't see that. You don't see civil, respectful discourse. I want to thank our staff, from our superintendent to our administrators, to our certificated staff, our classified staff. Nobody has it better than us. If you say otherwise, let her fight for us. For our students, for our families, they're the reason we're here. I hope we can all enjoy some time with our families on the holiday, and I also hope we can take some much needed time for ourselves and focus on ourselves. More than work, more than school, our own health and well-being is the most important thing. So please take care of yourselves. I want to share a special appreciation for Maureen. It's such an important part of our team that she can't be here tonight, but I just want to say how grateful I am to work with her. So thank you, everyone. Happy holidays. And that ends my report.
Thank you. 7.7, super time.
I need to start to record that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to thank all of our students who came and spoke to as Michael has said earlier, how articulate you are, how thoughtful you are. And this is the way you get things changed, and you advocate for yourself, and you're eventually going to leave us, and you're going to eventually need to advocate for yourself out in the quote unquote real world, and this is where you start. I have said since I've started that I need more student voice, and so I appreciate every single one of you coming. So give yourselves a little bit of So first, I want to start with last week. I attended the second meeting of the year with the Napa County Schools Emergency Group around redefining our protocols. I take pride in the fact that when I started here, we started having conversations about common language. We adopted the Big Five, which stole from the county, but that's okay. You do credit. I did ask for permission. But what we are doing in Napa County is now bringing this all together. So all districts, public and schools that are private within Napa County are going to be part of this new coalition, along with all local law enforcement officials throughout the county of Napa. And the intent is for us to have a common language similar to the Big Five. So we're using that as kind of the starting point, and then drafting the language to reflect the language that's used in Napa County. So one example is, so we're not going to make major changes, but one example is on our Big Five, we use the term lockdown. The reason that I'm bringing it up is because of situations that occurred in another state. And so one of those changes is that we call it a lockdown, but that's really not how we train people to operate in that scenario. In that scenario, we train them to think on their feet, to run, hide, fight, to do what is best in that particular situation. It may be a lockdown, but it may be for you to run, it may be for you to hide, for you to get away from those situations. So I'm really excited that our county is coming together to participate in this work, so that should a situation happen, say, or in Napa, we're all using the same language and we know exactly what it means. Similar situations today down in Napa, there was, I believe, a hazmat situation out in the community, and so they need to go to shelter in place. And when you use those terms, it's nice when everybody in the county knows what that means. Next is just want to call our presentation. It's part of our construction. I don't know about you, but it's way better than that. So thank you to Larry. He was supposed to be here tonight, but as I was unable to, he facilitated getting this installed with this to be great. Part of this is from general funds and part of it is also from our bond money. But we're really excited to have it done. Construction is on time for the STEM building. Pretty excited about that. Tomorrow, students and staff of the Junior Senior High School will have an opportunity to go into the building and paint a wall. In buildings where they use steel, they use steel sign and there's a steel bar, but it doesn't have steel in it. But they have accommodated my request to have a wall with all of our student signatures and all of our staff members should vote on that. So that is also open to the board. So if you would like to walk in, obviously you will sign the wall and you'll eventually be over. But your name will always be on the building as long as the building exists. Tomorrow is at 10 o'clock. In January, I'm setting a meeting with the city, both representatives of the new fairgrounds and the city manager to discuss us partnering to get a dog park running sooner rather than later, so that there is a will to not de facto park. So that conversation will happen in January. I want to recognize that our band won first place in the youth division of the annual Light Tractor Parade for the third time. Is running late, but they just started running. So we will not have that event in wants to go see students with mainly German. The Transcend team met last Friday for a full-day release day. We looked over the LEAP survey. We looked at our work around passion, sense of belonging, and the responses they give to the values, skills, knowledge, and qualities that we want our students to know and have when they leave us. And our team updated the entire staff as well as the program in January. I just said tonight's band concert. The interior door, I'm also close tonight. So that's what's in the construction. The interior doors will be painted at CVS over gray to change the light color. It's going back to the dark gray, similar to what we had before, but it will occur over the next 3 weeks. We had some requests. And over winter break, there are no students for 3 weeks, but administrators and district office will do still work. The district office will be closed on December 24th and 25th. And then we will be closed on December 30th through January 1st. The days during those weeks will be open and we'll be back open when we get you.
As well.
Questions? Kim. To the consent agenda. Where's a roll call vote? Actions proposed for the consent agenda are deemed routine in nature. And will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless any member of the board, the audience, or staff requests specific items to be removed from the consent agenda for separate action. I have a motion. All in favor? Aye. So roll call vote. President Robert Allen. Aye. Clerk Reed.
Aye.
Trustee Reed. Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Rios. Trustee Lopez Jones. Student Representative Clough. Thank you. Okay, 9.1, CSBA Annual Education Conference. The Board of Trustees and Superintendent will report on and discuss their experience of the Annual Education Conference, which took place at the beginning of December. So before you each share, I just want to thank each and every one of you for taking time personal to go. That we go to. I'm very fortunate that all 5 of you took the time to go to the conference. It was Anaheim this year. But other districts do not all send all 5. Sometimes they don't send 8, sometimes they send 1. And I think it's really important that we go and learn. So I appreciate the fact that we take time take time off the work to actually go separate from children, separate from spouses, and just appreciate the dedication to our school, to our district. So thank you. First. I'll go first. I thought that this year's conference was full of an overwhelming amount of information. It's taken the last 2 weeks for me, at least, to process. But they were really incredible talks. One was about emphasizing the student voice on the school board. And I was going to bring up this evening how I wanted to empower our student representative to really come to us with issues from the student body. It's just kismet that this was the way that happened. So from my personal experience, at conference, I don't just want to hear the sports scores and all the positive things. I want you to feel comfortable to come to us as a board, because we have no way of knowing unless you tell us that something is wrong. And the students are why we are all here as parents, as educators, as administrators, as board members. We are here to help you and support you and what you need. So it was a really incredible talk from the San Bernardino School District of 9 different high schools, and we had 9 different student representatives, which was definitely very different from our district, but the overwhelming message was you need to listen to what your students say. So I really hope that you continue to feel comfortable to talk to us about whether you think it's a small issue, whether you think it's big enough. We're here to listen and help adjust. And I think that was one of the biggest points and talks that I took away from the conference. I think also we had a really great presentation from a dual immersion school that had a lot of incredible conversations, and made the point that it's not all rainbows and butterflies, which I know that we all understand very clearly. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. It was a really incredible chat to have with a district that is successfully implementing a dual immersion school. So those were 2 of the high points for me from the conference. And spending time with you guys, obviously, but those 2 were the most important. Thank you.
Both of them was the same thing, but I would like to bring it to the board about going to this conference, there was a group of young people there, mingling and talking to school board members from all over the state. And I think that is an experience, as a learning, super good learning experience for students. And obviously, we have sessions for the executive assistant as well. So I think, we all can benefit from that.
I was just gonna agree with you that we sent both of them last year because it happened to be in San Francisco. Next year is in Sacramento, but we will think about it in the future if we have to fly, still think about setting up some funds and ensuring that the student has the as well as the executive system.
The other thing that I just following on talking about the dual immersion program that we sessions that we attended is not ironic, but it's super interesting to see that the schools that presented there was the Westminster School District. So for all of you educators know what this means. This is the district that in 1947 was facing a federal court case against the segregation of schools. And that was a district that was having their Mexican American students separated from the rest of the student population. And God came and sued them for the whole that stop with segregation between contact with schools. And that, if you wanna look it up, is the case, Mendes versus Westminster. And I think it's super important that we reflect how far they have come. That now they don't only have one dual immersion program, but they have two. And one is Spanish English, and the other one is Vietnamese English. And to be completely honest, I was blown away by the quality of their presentation and what they're doing in that specific stream. So it was a very good conference, I have to tell you. I learned another thing that it was human trafficking. And it's something that we need to have conversations at a county level with the county office of education, because human trafficking is affecting all areas of society, especially our students. Through social media and other means. So we need to start that conversation about how can we educate our parents, how can we warn the students about this issue that is affecting many school districts. So that's all. Sorry. Thank you. Who's the next?
I just want to say thank you. I just want to say that it was a great time that I had over there. Like I said, I went and I looked at the AI that's being brought into various schools, and it's going to come up. It's going to take audits and affecting us and how we're going to start implementing that kind of stuff. And it was all very interesting. A lot of stuff it's the new way I was taking over, and it was all very, very good to me. And, it was great. When we all went to the lecture, and that was very informative, especially like how they say there's a Vietnamese school and they didn't have books for that, and how they had to do so much work to write books and translate it themselves. It was super, super hard work, but somehow they got it done. And now they seem to be thriving. So it was all really, really interesting stuff. And I just want to say thank you to all of my colleagues for it's a great time that we all had together. So that's it.
I also have a lot out of the meeting. I appreciate the district and community for sending this. I think it's really valuable because it helps us better do our jobs. So thank you for that. The highlight for me of many great presentations was the Saints below. That was a well-attended list of one empowering student working with voice. It was very well attended. I didn't even realize that we were both there. But the student board members, again, they're 9 from one from each high school. They rotate. It's a big district, so the meeting locations rotate, but so do the student reps. So they had to get a meeting, 3 student reps are there. At this presentation, there were 5 student reps there, 3 of whom were presenting and who did just an amazing job. And I'm inspired by that to take a fresh look at our student board member program. Obviously, Kim is doing a wonderful job, and thank you for that. But I think they can bigger role, and the key to that is support, whether that's sending the student rep to this annual education conference, which is a great idea. And San Bernardino City Schools, the student reps go through a 2-day orientation over the summer. Something we can do. Each rep is assigned a mentor from among the trustees. There are lots of ways that support can happen, but I think, in addition to the student rep serving as providing the student experience, relating that to us, we could also be developing. We could be doing a better job of developing leaders in our communities. So I think it would be great to take a look at it. And speaking of leaders in our communities, one final note, we have a new state senator, and now is the time for us to develop a relationship with that state senator. I'm encouraging us all to reach out and say hello now when we aren't asking for something, so that when we ask for something, we have that relationship established.
So I just want to add that I was inspired by that session as well. And at the event, I had a conversation with the St. Louis superintendent about how we can work together in Napa County. Fortunately, in Napa County, there are only 3 student reps, but we'd like to be able to bring the community together. And because Townsend is also in Sonoma County, I'm reaching out to the Sonoma County superintendents to pull together the opportunity for all student reps to be able to come together and support each other and talk about the things that are going on in their schools and how they can grow in this position as well. So look forward to it.
What I'd like to address, just sort of one general overarching theme that really hit home for me when we were at CSBA, is that, and I've mentioned this I think a lot too individually, but it's so important to me that school boards are sort of the ground level of democracy, and we're all elected. And it's so important to hear the voices of our constituents and reflect what our community is here at the board. And I take that role so important, or so I really value that, and I appreciate our community so much, and being at the school board conference where there's thousands of other school board members. It's really powerful to see all these elected people that care so much about their communities to serve on boards where you're not really paid and you're doing hard work, but it's still really important work for our country. And public schools are so important to our state, to our country, and we're all here caring about that. And so to me, sitting in the room with all these people that care about public schools that are so important, it's really moving. So that was kind of an overarching feeling that I felt, and then to be able to serve with the 4 of you who all offer unique voices, but we're also aligned supporting this. Also, the community is really special to me personally. So thank you all for coming and making the time that Dr. Pittman said to be there and really take it serious with us. It's amazing because another takeaway that I had was that there's not many districts like us. There's not districts that are so small where people really care, that we have the money to do the work that we want to do. And there's a lot of districts, like I went to a presentation where the school board was having to escort members out to their cars because they were getting threats. And we don't have that here. We can all come and say our piece and be respectful. And so that was really eye-opening to me how special this district is and how special everyone here who took the time to be in this room, to sit in this, over our meeting now at this point, and so you can share your thoughts about what's important to you to make this district better. So thank you to all the board members, thank you to the administrators, thank you to the teachers, thank you to all the community members who are here tonight. It's really important work that we're doing. And then I'd like to echo what somebody of you touched on, which was the Westminster Dual Immersion Program. That was amazing. It was inspiring to see the work that they did, that they put in, particularly the start of Vietnamese English Dual Immersion Program. That's really hard to do. They said it was really hard, but they're so successful and it was important to their community and they got it done and they're doing that work, and that was amazing to see. So I really appreciated going to that institution. So thank you. All right, so we're going to see speaking version exploration update. So we have, first we're going to start with public comments. So we have some that weren't going to be here that sent in written comments, which I will read, but I'll start with the people that are sitting in the room. So Gloria Parada, and I believe Cynthia translate.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Gloria Parada. Soy madre de 4 hijos y soy residente aquí de California. Agradezco a la mesa por la oportunidad de escucharnos. ¿Y por qué estoy aquí? Porque considero que el programa de inversión dual sería de gran beneficio para nuestros estudiantes y para esta comunidad, ya que sería parte de la identidad y de una gran conexión. Como madre, he visto la importancia de que los niños conecten entre ellos mismos y con los demás, más la oportunidad de aprender otro idioma, lo cual considero es algo muy grande. Por ejemplo, mi hija la mayor trabaja ahorita en la biblioteca de Napa y ella dice que una de las razones y que le ha ayudado bastante es hablar otro idioma y poder entender a nuestra comunidad. Mi segunda hija tuvo la oportunidad de hacer lo del Change Program y viajar a Italia. Entonces ella, para aprender un poco el idioma, también le ayudó a saber español. Entonces, ahora, al igual, para mí, como mamá, no solamente es continuar con mi lengua, sino también ver que mis hijos son proficientes en otro idioma y que tienen la oportunidad de viajar y de hacer otras cosas y entender más las necesidades de las demás personas. Yo quiero que en esta comunidad ver que los niños son resilientes, que son fuertes, que son seguros. Al final, creo que ellos van a decidir con nosotros y van a tomar las decisiones, las mejores decisiones. Entonces, para mí ver que son niños preparados y seguros de ellos mismos, pues eso va a ayudar bastante. Entonces, yo creo que la educación no falla. La educación siempre es importante. Lo que muchas veces falla son los sistemas. Pero si estamos unidos y trabajamos juntos por beneficio de nuestra comunidad, pienso que el programa será de gran beneficio para esta comunidad. Gracias.
Alrighty. So that's Gloria Parada, who is a mother of 4 children and a resident here of House Servant. She appreciates the district's opportunity to hear others' voices and allow them an opportunity to speak. She believes dual immersion is very beneficial and will be a big part of the identity of the students. She sees dual immersion of great importance and great opportunity for the students to learn another language. For example, she is that for this daughter, knowing Spanish, the language really helped her in her job at the library. And also for her other daughter who attended an exchange program, knowing Spanish was also very helpful in her transition. As a mother, she understands the necessities of others, and she sees our students as strong individuals, and realizes that our children are the ones that will be making decisions for the future. And we want our children to be prepared. Additionally, she mentioned that education never fails. What fails are systems. So she believes the dual immersion can be very beneficial. Okay, let's talk to them. Claire, one head.
Good evening. My name is Claire Montauk. I'm the mother of two children, Louis 10 and Celeste 6, who are both at here. I was at the last board meeting to speak in favor of the dual immersion program. And I've been an expert about what happened at that last school board meeting. The many teachers in lecture and the speech again, the dual immersion program felt like intimidation. We parents have asked the board to research how to bring more Spanish literacy to the Calistoga School District. We have motivation, we've shared a lot of them. We feel like it's the right to mention it, but the reaction felt very disproportionate, especially when we are in 3 stages and gathering information and learning more about this program. Why is there so much condemnation and not more question? Among many things, the speech mentioned the figure of 2 dual immersion programs around us, but they did not mention any of the successful programs around us. Charlie Calmeda, Kawana Springs, Glory Elementary, many local schools have great results. Why insist on the figure instead of researching success and engaging those directions? Today, the enrollment in Calistoga District was down. 55% of our students did not meet the state standard in English, an increase of 4% versus 23. 7% of our students did not meet the math state standard, an increase of 3% versus 2023. When 87% of our kids are Hispanic, should we try to give those kids a chance to learn fundamentals in their maternal language as well as English so that they can gain confidence and expand their knowledge as they grow? Could this be a path? With all due respect, Mr. Gutierrez, you mentioned speaking many languages. What languages do you make math? English or German? I want to speak again on behalf of my own hopes and the hopes of the parents I have spoken with. We think that literacy, English and Spanish, would be both a benefit and a complement to our school, our children, and our community. We appreciate all the teachers and the school staff do for our children, and we do want our teachers' advice and participation, but we are not ignorant. We dream of more for our children, and we believe that a dual language program could be just that opportunity. We feel that literacy in our native languages and opportunity for literacy in a second language is an amazing gift we can give our children, especially in our Calistoga community. We are asking the teacher not to stand in the way of this opportunity before it can be vetted properly. We want to thank the board and continue to encourage the board to research and work with the teachers and the staff to vet and identify the best path forward so that we can all succeed in providing something bigger, something special for our children, our families, and this community. Thank you.
It's your student.
Hello, and thank you for your time. My name is Suzanne Peña. I apologize, I don't have the big center, but this is a very important matter for me. As the future of my kids, which are current students, and I have two are currently enrolled at the elementary school. Oh, I just appreciate your time and your consideration and actually searching and giving us the tools to relate to this particular topic. I appreciate the time that it has given us to be able to converse with the teachers as well to also understand their perspective. I know that there's a lot of fear of the unknown, but I also know that at the end of the day, what matters is our students, our kids. As a parent, I feel and I know that this program, having to immersion education for my kids, will benefit them in the future. Coming to last meeting, I really haven't had the opportunity to attend any of the meetings until then. I wear many different hats in my community. I'm not only a mother, I participate in different activities for the school, such as the site council, such as the PTO, including ELAC. The reason I do that is because I want to know how things are not being managed for my kids and how I can use my voice to better. And having the opportunity to speak today, it's truly a blessing for me. Because it's not easy. I know that I'm speaking for my children, and it was hard making certain things for explaining the meaning of their shirts. It was very intimidating walking into the room and seeing what's going on that morning. I know that many parents didn't walk in because they felt the same way. And I also was amazed by the many different languages we're able to speak, which unfortunately not all of us are able to have that here. And saying that, I also say that all of us have all the resources, not our students might have the resources to be able to fulfill knowing so many different languages. So if we're able just to keep one more, that will be good, that they will carry with them their entire life. I'm also a professional, and I'm grateful that I'm able to provide to my community as a mental health provider and now as a future school psychologist, to be able to provide assessments to my students on their native language so that they feel comfortable and kids don't fall into the cracks, because that's what happens. Many times you feel it's a language barrier when in the end it could be more than that, and it could be a learning disability. And so I feel like being able to do that for me, it's just a true blessing, and being able to give back to the kids, that means a lot to me. I'm in favor, and probably there's a lot of pushback, and it was good to hear and to know the stance that many of the teachers have. But we need to all work together, because at the end what matters is our kids, their future. And you are also here for them, and we as the parents are here for them. So thank you.
This is a written comment from Erica Veronica Rainey. She says, hello, I will not be able to attend tonight's meeting, but I would like to be ready to show my support. I think my child, along with all children, would greatly benefit from this program. I think it will be helpful to both the English and Spanish speaking students. I asked my daughter if she would enjoy learning part-time in Spanish, and she was all for it. I support this program and would love for it to come into fruition. And then a public comment from Elizabeth Tangley. Dear Calistoga School Board, each morning I walk my 4-year-old into the Calistoga Elementary School to join numerous moms waiting outside of classrooms. We often smile and share hellos, but our parental engagement in the school environment is limited because of our different and separate individual backgrounds. These daily interactions bring me to learn and support of the implementation of the Spanish dual immersion program within the Calistoga School District. I long for a better future for our community where everyone can connect without limits or divides. Many families speak Spanish as their primary language. This program would not only help bridge the gap between English-speaking and Spanish-speaking students, but in accordance with the objectives of DI programs, students who participate in DI develop a deeper socio-cultural competence. Dual immersion programs offer significant benefits to students. Cognitive benefits of bilingual education are well documented. Research consistently shows that bilingual students tend to have enhanced problem-solving abilities, improved multitasking skills, greater overall academic achievement, and increased self-confidence. By introducing a DI program, we can ensure that our students gain proficiency in Spanish while also strengthening their literacy and cognitive skills in English. We can ensure that all children have high academic success regardless of their linguistic background. Spanish is the second most spoken language in the United States and one of the most widely spoken languages across the globe. The DI program provides true bilingualism, not only verbal comprehension, opens doors to countless professional opportunities and higher earning potential. It will ensure that our students are prepared for the competitive job. Throughout the exploratory DI process, and it's become apparent that there are concerns from the teaching staff. At the last board meeting, the colorful demonstration by teachers and school staff against DI was quite intimidating. They left many parents feeling insecure about how to speak up in support of DI while maintaining positive relationships with teachers and fellow community members. While teachers need not fear losing their positions, their roles and the status quo will be affected. I have heard concerns about how English-only teachers' roles will change, how the school will staff for Spanish instruction, and how this will affect me. We can all be sympathetic to the fear that comes with uncertainty and change in the workplace. This program will require resources, professional development, and training. Correspondingly, it will require open-mindedness and flexibility from our teachers. I encourage the board to communicate their commitment to support teachers with resources and to outline in detail the program specifics so teachers will understand how they might be affected. In the absence of this information, the fear of being known will continue to grow. I strongly encourage the Calistoga School Board to prioritize the introduction of the Spanish dual immersion program. It would be a powerful step toward forward and directly aligned with the district's mission statement about being a culturally rich educational community where a rigorous and innovative curriculum prepares our students to be successful contributors to our society. Sincerely, Elizabeth Tanger.
Any other public comment? I actually just have a question and you probably can answer that. I understand that we had a forum where parents and community members came together, but I'm not sure if that information was ever received by parents, community members, or teachers.
So I'm going to answer that in my update. Big question. So the first thing that I want to point out as I did a dual immersion update is I am in year 3 of my tenure as superintendent of Calistoga Regional Side. And this topic has brought to our board more people than I've seen in my 3 years, and I guess in the many years prior to this. And regardless of what decision the board chooses to move forward with or not move forward with, I think that we should all be grateful that we have community members and staff members that are committed to our students and want to have a conversation. So that's one of the things that I want to point out is I appreciate the fact that the families came to us with a petition. I appreciate the fact that they come to our board meetings, that statements are happening with our staff members, that we're having collective conversations, because we can make an informed decision when we hear concerns, when we have the wants and wills and the dreams of the people in the community. So I, regardless of what decision happens, I'm excited that this conversation is happening with the superintendent. So with that said, I do want to remind the board that my update is about the process that we've already communicated, some of which we've done, and others that are upcoming. We said we would hold a parent staff meeting, which we did, and we will continue to hold. We stated that a report from the site visit would be coming, so everyone should have known it was coming. Remember, we share all of our reports, just like our special education and business services studies that we conducted last year. We communicate those reports in public as well. We do this to be transparent with the information that we see from utilizing public funds for the reports. And this topic specifically, as I stated, is a high topic for our community. So we want to make sure that we're being transparent in our communication. We held our first parent staff meeting, which I already mentioned. I want to thank all the board members for attending and being part of the investigative process. I also want to thank the parents and staff that attended. It was on meeting at 6 o'clock at night, and we stayed past 7:30. So I appreciate that. We developed a so from that meeting, we had some questions that came up. And so we developed a ask questions or FAQ collaborating with members of CAT. One president, Mr. Williams, two other members are not here tonight, and site administration. We utilized the post-its and comments from the first parent staff meeting to develop that FAQ, as well as some other questions that we have been hearing. We have scheduled a second parent staff meeting for Thursday, January 23rd at 6 p.m. That will be via Zoom. But it will be a similar format where there'll be an opening session and then we will break up into breakout rooms, which will be bilingual in every room. So there'll be a Spanish speaker and an English speaker so that the conversations can be blended. We'll schedule a board study session for the end of January. And we're going to communicate other comments that came from the posters from the first meeting and second meeting together. We don't want them to be separate because we want the conversations to be Jenkins. Authentic, thank you. And in the moment, and so we wanted to have that opportunity to think and have those conversations. We will be scheduling a board study session for the end of January, beginning of February, so we will determine a date with the board. We're going to schedule some site visits to some of the emerging schools. And then we're going to continue to meet with families and staff throughout this spring semester. So this is an ongoing conversation. A decision has not been made. And we'll continue to have these conversations as we move forward. We have input from everyone in terms of wishes, dreams, concerns, failures that occur in the programs, as well as successes, so that we can actually make an informed decision. I do want to comment on the report that was posted. We're not going to go over it because it was posted for people to read. I want to make a statement that one is a snapshot in time, one day. This report calls out strengths that we have in the community that we can build upon. And it also reminds us that we need to do some work around asset-based belief systems and cultural community. I've been having conversations with teachers around asset-based beliefs since I started here in 2022. Those conversations have primarily been centered on students with IEPs, and now we need to include our multilingual learners. We've also been doing work around diversity and culturally responsive instruction for the past several years. This report highlights that we need to continue this work. It also reminds us that there are questions and concerns around parental engagement. This isn't new information. These are issues that we've been addressing, that we've been discussing and trying to address. These comments don't define or describe every experience in our district. We have strong teachers, engaged parents, and quality programs, and do have areas to improve. We can't ignore areas that we need to improve. Regardless of our conversations around convergence, these are topics that we need to address in order to ensure we are providing an equitable experience for all the students that we serve. We should still be looking at this report as a way we can do better. You have a question?
Yeah. Before more of the conversation with the parents and the teachers, I just want to suggest doing it during school time. Just because we have so many teachers that are not here. And I realize there is an option, but a lot of them have like, children and activities. And I just really feel like it's something that we should have more of a during school hour authentic discussion.
So thank you. So thank you for that invite. We're not supposed to go back and forth. I appreciate that. And so we will be having a time during the day. But we also need to remember that many of our parents work, and hence why we're doing meetings. But we will add a session that will allow for during the day as well, or immediately after school. I do want to comment that similar to these Brooks comment, she had her public statement, that we need to look at this as a learning and growth opportunity. And I think that that's what it is, it's an opportunity for us to learn from each other and think about how we can build upon our strengths and support the growth for all the students that we serve. That's what I'm taking. So questions from the board. Questions or comments? It has not been, so it's going to post it was posted on the board agenda. It was not sent to the parents, but we can have it translated and made available in multiple ways.
It would be very important for parents to read the board.
Yeah. We will work on that.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that, thank you for that, and I agree, and when I read the report, I understood it was just a snapshot in time, and that, that I think the whole district, this is a conversation that we need to have, and that I appreciated the input that everybody gave and create for parents, teachers, staff. It helped me understand the issue better and the work that we need to do as we move forward. For me, underlying all of this is that the community wants more Spanish in the schools, and how can we accomplish that? And that report helped me see the work that we need to do to get to that ultimate goal of what the community and the families and the parents want for their kids. So again, I appreciate the work that everyone put in to get that report done. And others agree. So thank you.
All right. We're moving on now to 9.3 board policies and administrative regulations first reading.
Oh, they are, okay.
Have some updates to some existing board policies. When we bring new policies or update existing policies, we do a first reading, which allows a month for the board to consider them and for the public to give input. And so that's what we'll do here. These policies are being updated as a result of changes in law. And I'll go through them briefly. The updates as a result of the change to Title IX, strengthen protections against discrimination. Specifically, they expand the scope of sex discrimination to now include sexual orientation, gender identity, and pregnancy status. It also requires schools to provide reasonable accommodations for pregnant or parenting students. Enhances complete procedure for sexual harassment complaints and updates the mandatory training requirements related to Title IX. There are also changes as a result of a new law AB 1078 that relate to inclusive curriculum requirements. Districts cannot are explicitly prohibited from banning or limiting instructional materials that address diverse histories, identities, or perspectives, meaning the board cannot ban instructional materials because of these things. SB 7 is a new law which is impacting the changing policy. It relates to cannabis use protections. Protects discrimination against employees for off-duty use of cannabis as long as it does not impair their job. There is a safety-sensitive roles exemption. So, for example, district drivers, this would not apply to them if their role is inherently related to safety. So those are the updates to our existing board policies, and we'll bring this back for approval to you in January.
Do you have any questions? All right.
So I can see them. Otherwise, I'm like talking and just, yeah, like this. What do you think? Let me check it real quick. I think it's in the list on the graphics.
Good evening, and thank you for having me here.
This has been a really powerful board meeting. I think the most powerful I've ever attended.
And I feel really good that I brought you.
Some of the fruits of our labors here in this presentation. Thank you, Cynthia. Oops, over there. It's not working here. To the TV.
The clickers usually
Control the computer.
while Cynthia is figuring that out. There we go. Thank you.
So as you probably all know, the mission of Calistoga Jefferson High School is to close the opportunity gap by preparing all students for college career readiness and success in the global society. So that is what this presentation is focused on.
Now, in my role,
I hear a lot of misinformation,
a lot of
erroneous assumptions about what these things are happening, not just in our school, but in the state. So I sent out a survey
and votes
a pop quiz to see what people were thinking. And we're going to go through these answers together. So statements like most California students don't complete their A-G requirements.
And over half of my respondents, and there were 53, I think, thought that that was false. That most students do complete their A-G requirements, but they were wrong. In California, most do not. We're missing the top of that.
So 55% of California high school grads do not complete their A-G requirements, but
Cynthia. Go ahead and click it over for me. Okay,
but 61% of our current seniors are on track to meet their A-G requirements. And 63% of our current juniors are on track to meet their A-G requirements.
As you all know, 87% of our population is Hispanic Latino. So that's why I put that black bar where I did. So that you can see the Hispanic Latino over there in pink.
So our kids are kind of knocking it out of the park.
With the help of our teachers, of course. And everybody else. Okay,
so the next question had to do with underprepared for math.
Yes, all the directors
in the state of California are underprepared for math.
Thank you.
So 80% of the Calistoga class of 2025 is underprepared for math.
But again, looking at the Hispanic Latino population, we're doing a little bit better than the state average. And that's compared to 93% who were not prepared in 2019. So progress is being made. Yes.
Define what it is to be underprepared.
Yes, thank you. So
the 11th graders take their class exam in the spring.
Part of that exam is called the EAP, the assessment program. And it is what determines their math or English placement once they enter into California colleges. So you have the SAT went away for UCs and CSUs. They'll use these scores instead to decide which math classes students should go into.
Statewide, 45% of students
deemed in 2023 to not be ready for college level English. Our current senior class, 82%. No, I'm sorry, 62% scored ready for college level English on their transfer tests last year. So now we're going to talk about college board trends. What percentage of California high school graduates enroll in college the first year after graduation? Survey says most people thought it would be less than 60%. Okay. But it's actually 62% statewide, and the green bars are our students. So the first thing I saw was, well, what happened with the class of 2024? We're only halfway through the year. A lot of students don't enroll until the second semester. So yeah, kids are doing well. Most students who enroll in a four-year college earn a degree within 6 years. Folks got this one right. It's true. Most students who enroll in four-year college earn a degree within 6 years. On this graph here, you'll see how that changes from institution to institution. UC's got the highest rate there. Well, actually, no, the privates, 76%. But the UC's the next. Let me check over there. Let me show you where our kids are. Yeah. There you go. This is what happens when you zoom and present the same. Okay. Right. Nope, other direction. Nope. Go back. Yeah. Right there. Okay, so on average, 72% of college student graduates are eligible within 6 years. That's 6 years worth of data. So we hear our kids aren't graduating from college, it's a contract. Okay, Cynthia. This thing doesn't work. Again, look at that, 71% of California students, but 72% of our students, and that's our highest number. Most students graduate with substantial debt, which can take years or even decades to repay. Most people think that's true. I hear it over and over again. I am recruiting you all as Midwesterners. It's absolutely not true. Next slide. A third of California college graduates have incurred debt. Next slide. A third of UC students borrow somewhere between $13,200 and $18,000 for a four-year degree. And that's only a third. Most students aren't debt-free. I don't know why that persists, but I will have students say, I'm not going to college because I don't know what to do. And then you saw the survey results, and the survey was community members, educators, former students. It's just a really pervasive. The for-profit institutions are the highest at 55% of student power. $13,000, by the way, is a year of tuition to UC, or a year of housing. That's tuition or UC. Okay, it's less expensive. I wish this one was true, but it's not. It's less expensive to start at a community college and then transfer to a four-year. Again, most people think that's true. But the state audit released in September says it's not. 1 in 5 students transfer in 4 years, not 2. And by the time that happens, they have lost out on the potential savings by starting a community college. I did include the links to all of the research on this for you, if you want to look at the original stuff. And on average, only 40% of college students who enroll in a community college persist to their second year. compared to 87% of the students who leave single district for 4 years. There are a variety of reasons students aren't transferring from the community college. We have excellent community colleges. There are so many different things that can play. The Wildcat Mentor Program continues to go strong. It's especially helpful when local scholarship donors make it a requirement. So 11 mentors for the class of 2024 with 18 mentees. That might seem like a low number, but a whole bunch of our graduates are partnering with a 10,000 Degrees mentor at their campus. So the majority of our students who go to a 4-year have a mentor of some sort. Okay, and quickly, we're ahead of the curve thanks to Michael and Alex. We are partners with the CCGI and have been for a couple of years now. By 2026, all public schools in California will be required to enter into partnerships. It's a job of work. We've got data that needs to match up, but they are very helpful, very supportive. It gives us application integration. So what that meant for our students this year, they sat down, they launched their EC application or their CSU application, and their transcript is automatically transferred into that application. So any of you who had to put your classes and grades into a college application, they don't have to do that anymore. Comprehensive reporting, I'll show you. Oh, educator resources. So every teacher on campus has an account so that they can look at their students in their advisory. So college applications, I have these stats because of California colleges. Right. So I can look in there and see who's done what, who needs some targeted support. This one was really helpful. This is actually a picture of the state's Race to Submit dashboard, which is where they keep track of student financial aid applications. It's now a requirement by the state that all seniors do a financial aid application or opt out. Where I get that information so that I'm able to support is California College Study, the CCGI. All it tells me is whether they're in progress or they submitted or they're completed. So last year, as I'm sure you saw in the news, was horrendous. And we still had 67% of our students submit. I think the difference between submit and complete is for students whose parents never got identity verified. It was a nightmare. Assessments within the CCGI. I'm not going to read those all to you, but we have a sequence of assessments that the students take. Everything in orange, highlighted in oranges within the platform, and I can pull reports on all of that. Monica and I are looking at one of the reports for some of our transcendent passion work, because all of the 7th graders have taken an interest profile assessment, and it shows them their top interests for careers. So we'll be using that data to try to create some further experiences for them. And then these last slides give you an example of what each of those assessments returns to the student. Okay, and it's always explained to them that none of this hard to down. This is just a snapshot of how you answer these questions today, and they can retake those assessments as many times as they like. We have 11 internship sponsors and 20 interns this year. And one of the real estate interns wanted to make sure that I told you, he's already working on his real estate license, and he's already been offered a job by his sponsor. So pretty exciting, yeah. Her name is Sandy Tucker. She's at next to me. I don't think I heard her. Okay. I tried to go fast. Do you have any questions? It's too late and we're too tired for questions. Okay, well, if you think of something. Thanks.
I think that these are very, this is a very important information. We need to figure out a way to, for the community to grow, because the more, you don't know where you go, right? So that's when all these assumptions and all these,
you know,
It's happened, so I think we need to start thinking as a district, how can we provide reliable information to our parents and to our staff and to those who wants to know, so that we don't, you know, perpetuate these misconceptions. I mean, being is community for 12 years,
how do we stop that? You know, the rumor mill, but
at the same time, I think it's our responsibility to provide that information.
Part of the answer there is making sure that students know what all of their options are. So that they're not throwing that up as an excuse. Rather than, I don't want to do right. So that's what I take responsibility.
I agree. I mean, you know, it's not only the students, but you think about family and parents who are working jobs to, you know, to survive. When you talk about how much is college is going to cost, guess what the options are. So I think it's important that they know exactly, you know, the reality of the future.
And now I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. But I was wondering, the students do so many interesting internships in the communities that we could hear what they do, or I don't want to put any of the students on the spot, but they're all doing such.
Yeah, we can definitely invite them and work with Carla to post them as the speakers at either our May or June board meeting. Depending on how many agree, we could do it over both board meetings. We actually have 2 meetings in June, so we could do it over 3 board meetings. I don't think that last year we hosted the event with the interns, and that was the year before.
It was the year before.
What is the interns of a final exam for this semester? And they're putting together a 2 to 4 minute
video about why they chose that, what they learned, how was it different, what they expected.
So I would love for them to present that. That would be great to all of you.
Yeah.
And there was also a nice article in the Tribune last week.
Going to present tonight at the California dashboard. Cynthia, this is going to be an adventure, right? At this thing. Ready? Okay. So just a little bit of background on California dashboard. As a reminder, this is part of California School Accountability Program. It started in 2017. It was on pause from 2020 to 2021 with COVID. Some things let's see. Can I advance this? Yes. Yes, it's working. Some things we like about the dashboard are that one, it's very accessible. It's really easy to get to for families. For anyone, you go to the internet and type in California dashboard. First result, there's a search bar, and you search for your school or district, and you get there very quickly. And then it gives you your school performance on this color wheel, right? Red, lowest performing, blue, highest performing. So it's really accessible to get to and have a basic understanding of how your school is doing. We like that it's a status and change model. And what that means is that your color how well you're doing is based on your achievement level and how you change from one year to the next. Not just purely achievement. And this is important because this is a recognition that schools have different starting places, schools have different student populations, different resources, and so it recognizes growth from one year to the next. We like that it's holistic, it doesn't just look at English and math scores. It's a whole bunch of metrics that we'll look at to give you a holistic picture of how your school is doing. And we like that it identifies student subgroups. It doesn't just say how is your school doing, how is it doing, and how is each subgroup doing. So that we pay attention to that and we don't just say the school's doing well, but we're leaving someone behind, right? We want to look at each subgroup. What do we not appreciate about the dashboard? We recognize that it's hard to compare, it's like apples to apples with this color wheel. So if you say that one district or one school is in the yellow for English language arts and another school is in the yellow, they may be at very different places in terms of achievement. That's just how that model works because it's taking growth into account. We recognize that small school data can be volatile. When you have a small school, especially a small subgroup, it can really change year to year depending on who those students are. If you only have 11 students, for example, in a subgroup, and a different 11 the next year, you're going to get a potentially big change in data that's not reflective of practice. And lastly, we do not like the fact that it comes out so late and that we are now currently in December talking about data from 2023-24, but we are also a month earlier. This came out in November 21st versus December 15th, so they're getting better. All right, let's get into the data. It doesn't work, Cynthia. It used to work. All right.
One thing we learned about
this new boards. See that red letter? It's good, right? If you point to stuff and you get on the board. That because there's a lot of data on the slides. So I'm going to talk you through this. I need a really long ruler. Okay, so key things are pointed on the slide. Number one, at the top here, in declining enrollment, we know that that's what the down curve means, right? It's a decline from the year before. SED is socioeconomic economic disadvantage. We have a much higher percentage SED than the state average, a higher percentage of Hispanic students, a higher percentage of English learners at EL, and a higher percentage of students with disabilities. Those are significant, and I just want to call it out. It's not an excuse, but it is important to state that these are groups that have historically had a hard time showing their proficiency on standardized metrics. Doesn't mean that these groups of students will graduate from high school, be successful in work and in life, but we recognize that when we compare our test scores to the state average, we have a high percentage of groups that have historically had a hard time demonstrating proficiency versus we are underrepresented at the weight subgroup and the age subgroup, which isn't on there because we don't have enough. It's 10% of the state average. So we're underrepresented in the groups which are disproportionately achieving at a high level. Cynthia, next slide. Okay, English language arts performance. So at the top, you see the color wheel, right? Where we're at as a state, as a district, and our two schools. For the state, they stay the same. I'm going to go slow for this slide because this pattern is going to repeat itself. But the state stay the same. That's that equal sign. The state is still orange from last year. We moved up a level as a district from orange to yellow. Same at the elementary school, and the junior senior high school actually moved two pieces on this color from orange to green. We are above the state average, we're at 9.4% below the standard set for this test. So we're above the state average, and if you walk down that line in the district, we're actually above the state average for every single subgroup. We are achieving better at this point at the junior senior high school than at the elementary school. Is this where we want to be held? We want to be at the standard or better. But is this improvement? Yes, this is significant improvement across the district, and especially improvement in English language arts, the CAS, and at the junior senior high school. Also want to point out that little box down there on the left. It says new group. LTELs, which is long-term English learners, which are English learners who have been English learners for 7 years or more, is now on the dashboard. This is not new in California. This group has always existed. There's always been data out there. But this is the first time it's on the dashboard. Our students on the CAS and ELA, this test, are 54 points below the state average. That's obviously not where we want to be, but it is better than the state performance by quite a bit. We'll go to the next slide. So this is the math CAS and your assessment for math. And there's no change at the state or school or district level. At the top, you see those equal signs. There's no change in status, but each group improved. So the state improved, the district improved, so our schools just not enough to move that color wheel. And again, if you look at the district and you walk straight down that data, you'll see that we are performing better than the state average in every category, in every subgroup. We're performing better in elementary school than at junior senior high school. This is not new. This has been our trend year after year. The junior senior high school is performing well below the state average, but they did have over a 10-point gain from last year. You can go forward something. Okay, science. This is new. So the CAS test or the science test. It's actually not a state requirement, it's a federal requirement, and because it's not a state requirement, the state has never put it on the dashboard. But they've kind of changed it apart and they now want to display it. So it's the first time we're seeing science data. Next year, in year 2, we'll get the color wheel because we can show growth. But this is the first year, so we don't have a color wheel, we just had raw numbers. But it's similar patterns to the math and ELA tests. Where we, if you look at the CJUSD, are performing better than the state and better than the state in every subgroup. In this case, we're performing better at the elementary than the junior senior high school. I really wish they would have broken that state data out into elementary and secondary, because I would like to see that. We don't have that data from the state. But this is the first year we have this data. Next year, we're going to get to see that growth model. We'll get a color wheel on this metric. Next slide. Okay, the LP, English language progress. What this is our English learners take a test at the end of the year, the summative LPAC. And this is measuring the percent of students that make progress from one level to the next on that test, or stay at level 4, the maximum level. In our case, 54.9% of our students made progress from one level to the next. This was our strength last year. As a district, we were in blue, and this swarm way to the left, right? We had a huge decline in this indicator. So you say, what do you make of that? Our instructional practices, I wouldn't say have changed. One thing we discussed about this metric is that the more students you classify, the fewer students you have taking this test, and potentially students who are impacted in terms of learning as a student with disability or other learning barriers. We considered that because we had such a large number of students reclassified last year. I don't think we need to have a knee-jerk reaction to this data, even though we're in the red. We're in the red. That's potential call for action, but I do think we're going to see a significant rebound in this next year. I think we'll come back to center. Next slide. Chronic absenteeism. I'm just going to speak kind of in general about this. You know, before COVID, our chronic absenteeism, which is the percent of students who miss more than 10% of the school days in a year. Before COVID, we were at 6%, right? And the state was at 10%. And then after COVID, the first year after COVID that we had data, the state went to 30% and we went to 23%. And we're starting to make that comeback. The state's making that comeback actually faster than we are. We need to work on this and we need to get it below 10% as soon as we can. There's a number of reasons for this. I was reading a report this week on the state of chronic absenteeism. There are 20 reasons why this is happening. I think we need to make sure we understand for our students what's happening. Right? What is the barrier? And I think we're small enough to meet with these students, those families, and understanding what is their barrier to coming to school and making sure we remove it. But this is just evidence, even more clear than the academics, that COVID is still impacting us and our ability to get back to where we were pre-COVID. Next slide. Suspension rate. So the statement in the right direction improved, but we did not. I will say though that the elementary school, 1.7 is a really low number, especially since our elementary school has 6th graders. So 1.7 is low. I think the reason we didn't go to grade is to really improve. Where we do have an issue here is at the junior senior high school, where we see a significant increase to 7.7%. And we went from the green to the red. That's significant, right? So that's something that we need to look at. I know that team is keeping regular data on this. They're looking at their performance this year. We are certainly improving from where we were last year. But again, when we're red, that's something we take a really hard look at. Next slide. Graduation rate is a strength for us. It has always been a strength for us. And we continue to be performing well at 94% as a district graduating. We'd love to be 100% and get that into the blue range. But year after year, we do a great job as a district of working with our kids and making sure that we support them to graduate from high school. Slide. The college and career indicator, this is like a potpourri. There are a lot of different data points that go into this, but this talks about students being prepared for college and career. And it's a relative strength for us. We're always higher than the state average. In this case, we're at 56 to 58%. Again, we'd like to see go even higher with the range, but we typically outperform the state by quite a bit at the same time. These are our self-reported local indicators. Put on the dashboard asks you to identify your own areas to monitor, and so these are ours. They have not changed from years past. We've met these standards related to our local indicators. And last slide. So this is a super busy slide, right? There's a lot on there, but I think it's good to give kind of a summation of where we're at. Of the 7 metrics, we are above the state average in 6 of 7. We improved in 5 of 7. This is a good year for us on the dashboard. We made a lot of progress. We're not where we need to be, but we moved in the right direction in a significant way. One area to point out, we are differentiated assistance for a couple of groups. We had differentiated assistance years ago, and we will have differentiated assistance again. But that's when you have a subgroup that performs in the red in 2 areas. So, for example, our students with disabilities perform in the red as a subgroup in mathematics and suspension. The state will call that out. We had this a few years back with special ed and English suspension, mostly a suspension I think at the elementary, now it's more at the junior senior high school. But that's something we're going to have to take a really hard look at and look at the county on what is our plan to address that. Also for LTELs, this was a little odd to me because it's the first time LTELs have been in the dashboard, and our settlement was really small last year. But we're there. It'll be a good chance for us to look at that data. I think it's so small, we can look at individual students and what our plan is for those students. But with differentiated assistance, there's no longer funding for the kind of becoming significant support from the district, but we will collaborate with the county to look at our data and put a plan together for how to address these 2 areas. So we remove those from this list of being red and differentiated assistance. I know that's a lot of data, super fast, but that's our dashboard. What questions do you have? It's a really good question. And there are states that are asking the exact opposite question. Why are all schools above the standard? Right? It's because when the state board created the tests, somebody had to pick a line and a number and say that's the standard. Right? In California, they chose a standard, and that's how we're all measuring up. Some states chose a standard in the other direction. But it's, I don't want to say it's arbitrary, but it's set. This would be a different story if we were talking about state average. Where went to state average? Somebody said a state standard. If you're really students need to perform in mathematics to demonstrate mastery. State testing is levels 3 and 4 and proficiency level. So some set those metrics. Yeah. Other questions?
With the chronic how was it?
We were 6%. We were at 6% students chronic absenteeism across the district, between 6 and 6.5. Yes, and then after COVID, we went to 23%. And now we're down to 17, but it's, and the state went from 10% to 30%. And they brought those like one of their. We talked about all the reasons, right? We asked our families to stay home when they're sick. We really said we were going to prioritize safety at school, physical safety, stay home if you're sick. I think that's part of it. But I think there's a lot more to it. Our kids feeling safe at school. Our kids engaged at school. When we come to school, we want to be here. We're teaching curriculum that's engaging and we're in a role that kids want to go to school. Like I said, I would report that list in 20 reasons. I don't think we can't 20 reasons. But we probably have some that we will identify.
Another thing is for the new let's say yeah, the new group.
Thinking about what keeps a student 7 years in our district without classified. I mean, that's a question that I remember, in 2010. That was an issue with it. We classified and part of the classes. There's no. I mean, that was really worrisome in that time. Now looking at 7 years we classified, that's what are the reasons?
So our group is really small. Like we currently today we have 15 students in our district, right? So it's a really small number. To reclassify is not easy. You need to demonstrate 4 on your LPAC. And proficiency on a state assessment or local assessment, depending on what. So there's an academic threshold. And I think it would be fair to call out that if a student is not able to perform academically because they're struggling with learning, they're then not going to classify, which may or may not be related to their English language ability. I think there's a lot of that happening. Does that make sense? Yeah, but it's a very small number. Right? But can we get it to 0? We can control that. They're not local measures. Other questions? Thank you. You hold.
Protocol for action items includes a staff presentation, questions from the board, public input, deliberation by the board, and voting by the board. During public input, there will be a 3-minute time limit per person. 11.2 annual and 5-year developer fees reports. Sean Maureen. Really not Maureen. So be patient. Talks real fast. Talks real fast. I might be able to do that. So, 11.2, has to do with our developer fee reports. I want to remind everyone that, we collect $4.31 per square foot for residential properties and 78 cents per square foot for commercial properties. This is set by the state every 2 years. They raise the dollar amount and to the study to see if we are able to raise the dollar amount as well. Prior to the end of 23-24, our beginning cash balance was $290,789.41, of which $177,299.85 came from level 1 residential property, and $8,149.91 came sorry, $177,000 interest. We, from the beginning cash balance collected over the 2024 school year, we had a total of $484,239.17 in our development fees. We spent $5,319 on a 3% of insurance transfer, $47,015 on justification reports so that we can actually raise our fees. And then the bulk of the money, $474,205.17 were spent on temporary housing or condos out on disposal, as we build the same building. So that in essence wiped out all development fees. So we spent all those times as of 2024. With that said, the temporary housing cost us under $8,000. So this was just a portion of that. So that's into the board to develop fee report.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, 11.3, first interim financial report. Okay, so this is the first interim budget presented today. Budget objectives are the same each year. We want to provide a full, robust educational program for our students. We want to follow the goals and actions of the district's LCAP. We want to ensure that the district always has adequate cash flow for its operations, and we want to recognize teachers and staff for their hard work. So general fund, the total revenue decreased by over $17,000 from the adopted budget. Property taxes make up over 85% of our income. This is what substantiates our general fund, as the other source of income tend to be restricted and volatile. There was a decrease of $129,236 in estimated property tax, but state aid increased due to COLA and special education and is also funded by property taxes. So instead of the state paying yourself from state aid, like general fund property tax income, we get more per pupil in special education because it's funded by the property tax. So with a decrease of $129,236 and an increase of $13,000. Property tax revenue increased by $16,000. That's because we have budgeted for a 4% increase in property taxes, and it's less as of right now. Federal revenue increased by $43.42. Other state revenues increased by $51,443. Our ELOP and our music allocation actually decreased because they're funded by ADA adjustments, and so that those students don't go to less money for our lottery increase is an adjustment for higher per pupil student allocation. Our mental health funds increased is through the self-allocation and this proportionate share of funds per student. So prior to this year, funds went to the self-out at the county and then funded through us, and the was actually going to come to us. But they divvy up that dollar amount by district by student, so we saw an increase of the $2,900. Our local revenue increased by $202,046.62. This includes the addition of our NBSI safety credit budget, our low incidence equipment purchases when now we think by the district rather than Southwest, so funds are coming to our coffers directly. And local grants include $85,000 from the Department of Education Foundation in June, if you're on that board. and a $22,000 increase in contractual service to other neighboring districts. Our general fund expenditures have increased by $1,023,395. As you can see, the majority of our expenses come from salaries and benefits. 80% of our budget is for salary and benefits, so we have 20% for other things. Where the changes or increases happen for certificated salaries, we increased by $110,000. This is because of our raise last year of 3%. Obviously, it came out for second column. And staff changes that we in position movements and one-time expenses from 22-23 actually removed. For classified salaries, we increased by $54,393. Again, very similar reasons. Second column, salary increase of 3.87. I just want to comment just so we know that the difference between those two numbers, they received the total compensation the same because we operate in two. The certificated chose to take 3% on salary and the rest on benefits. The classified chose to take the full salaries and not to increase their benefits. But the total compensation was the same on both units. Health insurance, district contributions increased by $29,795. This includes $13,739 towards retiree benefits and $16,000 towards active staff benefits. This is a capped cost to the district for each employee that receives benefits, and benefits include medical, dental, and vision. And then depending upon the plans that employees choose, determines what the district cost is for that employee. So I'm just going to use a round number for example's sake. So if we say we're spending $10,000 towards health and welfare for a staff member, and the plan that we choose this year costs $7,000. It doesn't cost them. It doesn't cost them anything out of their pocket, but when the insurance company raises the fee, and now it's $8,000, that's an additional $1,000 towards the district and not to the staff member. So that's part of that increase. Benefits for payroll and retirement contributions. So STRS, which is retirement for our certificated staff members, remains at 19.1% for this year, whereas PERS, which is for our classified, increased from 26.68 to 27.05. Medicare stayed at 1.45, Social Security at 6.2, and CI at 0.05. And then workers' comp decreased from 1.3878 down to 1.1484. So total payroll and retirement contributions for certificated staff members is 21.75% and classified as 35.9. So what that means is for every $100 that we pay in salary for a certificated member, we spend an additional $21.75. And for the classified member, for every $100 we spend an additional $35.80. And that's the same across all districts. Expenditures, supplies, services, operating costs, and capital outlay. Supplies and materials increased by $130,048.87. Services and operating expenses increased by $570,243. A big portion of that is special education because we have some students that are in public schools that have increased, and then our capital outlay increased by $52,000. Transfers out, this is standard every year, we set aside $250,000 towards our cafeteria fund and $100,000 towards our facilities fund. If we don't use it, then it just comes back to the general fund, but we put it there just in case. Program support, special education increased by close to $100,000. Title I decreased by about $50,000. Title II decreased by about $1,000. Technology increased by $300,000. Routine restricted maintenance increased by $25,000. Elementary school outdoor education, which is to Yosemite, decreased by $3,000, and that's because of a $25,000 grant that they gave us. It was actually going to be close to $100,000 this year. They gave us a $25,000 grant, so we're really appreciative of that. And then our added contributions dropped from $20,871 down to $15,000. So how does this connect to CAB?
So for 23-24, we were obligated to spend $3,098,377 on police or increased services for our needy students. That's what the state says based on the students that we serve, and how much they serve or cost to operate and serve their students. We actually spent $576,836. For this next, for our third school year, we're obligated to spend $325,475. But we're projecting to spend over $6 million. So it's quite an increase over what the state was actually going to have in us. Our multi-year assumptions are the same as they've been in the past. We did include in there that our property tax increases were at 4%, so we need to add the 2 subsequent years. So as we go into the second interim and we think about budget adoption for the next year, depending on how we land on for PT, we might want to adjust that 4% because it's coming in under 4% right now. So we'll make sure that we are seeing that we're going to get better actually through. 7 columns also for our eligible employees, we're estimating health insurance, textbook adoptions for 25-26. We're budgeting for increasing utilities. If you look at our PG water bills, you'll understand that. These are the multi-year fund balances. So we have unaudited actuals. We were at 12 million, just over 12 million. General fund balance. That was 14 million with a change of 1.4 million. At first interim, we took that 14,068 because that was what happened here. But we only are anticipating 12 million, 120. So 377. So at the end, so we're actually deficit spending 1.79. That's a combination of we knew we were going to be deficit spending to begin with. We had already known that based on the one-time fund ending or other expenses that we had. But the reason that it's higher than the 905,000 that we had in budget adoption is because of the decrease in revenue that we've had. So as we move forward to the 2 years, yes, we are still deficit spending. Part of that is the costs are going up, and part of that is us needing to think about the income that we're investing for. So this is the multi-year fund balances, which I'm just going over. It's showing at the bottom the actual reserve percentage, and so we projected that we would be at 26%. At the budget adoption, we were at 25%. Next year, we're anticipating we'll get about 21% and then get about 20% based on our deficit spending, which just doesn't increase because we're deficit spending. There's still healthy reserves, but it's important to remember why we have healthy reserves. So this slide makes really hard. Apologize. But these are general fund assigned reserves. So we assigned $16,000 for revolving cash and clearing, 300,000 for stores and purse obligations. So that's taking into consideration of retirement. 150,000 towards maintenance projects, 459,000 towards technology improvements, 765,000 towards one-time funds, which is all wildfires related costs. 656,000 towards staff retention and hire, and then 25,000 towards special education preschool. So that's not really so great. $100,000 towards future special education possible costs, $100,000 towards SB2 liability for self-insured policy, $350,000 towards modernizing furniture classrooms, so buying furniture for our classrooms and setting the standard, $85,000 towards the improvements, that's the screen. 2.5 million reserved for economic uncertainties, that's the requirement of the state, and then 4.5 million is unassigned or unappropriated. We have committed funds. We adopted resolution 2324-11, which is committing $200,000 towards professional development, which created resource 9552 for this year. And then just a reminder of why the
reserve is necessary, so one time federal and state funds have allowed current savings of expenditures and district moves into deficit spending for this year and next year. Increased reserves have been cash flow because we'll receive our property taxes twice a year. So when we have spend it. It keeps us away from cutting from staffing and volatile or unfortunately to be in California, I'm sure you'll see most people articles about state funded districts are having more cuts. So property reserves allows us not to do that. And districts do not get guarantees for our funding, just what we do. And then the other fund balances, this is what's projected for the end of 2024-25. So our student activity fund is expected to just over $61,000. Adult education, 1,000. Child nutrition services or cafeteria fund, 263. Bond fund at 4.1 million. Again, this is at the end of this fiscal year. So we know just sold our bond for over $1 million. It's because we're going to spend some of that money. Developer fees, we're hoping to collect another $302,000 over the course of this year with construction that is going on. Our state facilities fund will have a balance of $301,000 and our capital outlay fund is 44. Next up will be our second round, which we will have Q1 will be finalized hopefully the beginning of February. So those numbers would actually have an impact. So the fingers crossed that it actually comes in over 4%, because then for 4% on top of the deficit spending. So to sell. Actually, they've already sold. We don't have control of that. So just that there's no questions. I ask the board to approve the person. Sean? All in favor? Understanding associated teachers regarding catastrophic leave for employee to.
So the agreement between the district and CAT to expand the definition of catastrophic leave on a one-time basis for employee 281. Catastrophic leave is typically utilized by contracts, and then code is utilized for one's own serious health condition. But due to the unique circumstances here, CAT and the district believe it's in everyone's best interest to allow this employee to utilize the catastrophic leave bank for the catastrophic condition of her spouse. And present this MOU for approval. Second.
Understanding of Napa County Centers for on-campus student loan services.
So this is an agreement between the district and Napa Valley Family Center related to the hiring of 3 wellness coaches. They will hire 3 wellness coaches with grant funding, and this agreement details Valley Family Center's responsibilities and the district's responsibilities in this relationship. Motion to approve. Aye.
Six master centers and city schools for special education services.
We currently have a student, special education student receiving instruction and services through Santa Rosa City Schools. This is a new partner for us. We've had students attend various non-public schools and other school districts for special education services in the past, but we've not worked with Santa Rosa City Schools. So this is the first time we've done that. So this puts an agreement in place between the district and Santa Rosa City Schools as to what the different parties' obligations are in that relationship.
11.7 initial sunshine proposal from CJUSD to CAT for collective bargaining negotiations.
These are initial proposals to CAT for negotiations this school year. We have the salary and benefits and 2 other articles that we're presenting. Presented to the board for approval, we also present them in a way with enough transparency that the public knows what we're negotiating this year. And we're excited to start negotiations. You know, we have a good history of coming to agreements with CAT that are mutually beneficial and for the benefit of our students. But we certainly don't take that for granted. So we know that there's good and important work to be done, and we look forward to negotiations this year. So,
Took my line.
All in favor?
11.8, National Sunshine Proposal from CAT to CJUSD for collective bargaining negotiations. Person.
I'm Autumn Duarte, Board Chair for CAT. The Calistoga Associated Teachers Negotiation Team and Leadership engaged with all bargaining unit members and asked for what supports and resources will enhance students' social, emotional, and academic growth. Through one-on-one conversations, surveys, and school site meetings, it is clear that CAT members put students at the center of everything we do. Ensuring safe, stable school communities for students and staff is what we hope to achieve. To that end, we present to you our Sunshine Proposal. Article 2 salary. In order to provide the best education for students by attracting and retaining quality educators, increase salary and rates to a competitive level. Article 3 health and welfare benefits. In order to create safe school environments and support the health of other employees and their loved ones, increase the employer's contribution to employee health benefits. Article 7 work-year hours of employment and duties. CAT would like to discuss the various required meetings occurring outside of the due date so that they are spaces of objective advocacy for students, while also being mindful and respectful of work-life balance. Additionally, in order to value work done beyond the workday to support students, improve the ways the preparation time is addressed, and increase opportunities for work while at school. Finally, Article 8 class size. In order to ensure students more access to one-on-one and small group support in the classroom, maintain balanced class sizes and commit to improve the student-to-adult ratios. CAT looks forward to beginning negotiating these merits. Thank you.
Yeah.
And to approve CAT's initial proposal as presented to me.
Second. 11.1 policies and administrative regulations.
So our board policies and administrative regulation updates that we brought for first read last month. They're the results of change to the Title IX federal law. We'll bring them back unchanged for approval.
Second. All in favor? 11.10 wellness prevention plan.
So this is a new plan that we're bringing to you for initial approval. It's the result of legislation actually passed way back in 2017 with the intent to keep employees in the state of California healthy during hot periods of time indoors and outdoors. But it's taken from 2017 to now to actually bring us what the actual plan needs to look like. The plan you see here was developed by an attorney from North Bay Schools and Service Authorities to make sure that it's a compliant plan. We've tailored it to meet the needs of the Calistoga School District. But yes, this is our initial illness prevention plan that we bring for approval.
Splitting district office.
Okay, now Chris for the rest of the meeting. So for 11.11, as you know, we had approved to hire a new business position for the district office, and we don't have space for that person. And so I looked at my office and thought out different ways where we could get a portable my office I thought was not the most, and so to design a way to split it into two offices. So that's what this is for. Before I ask you to approve it, I do want to say that in the process, I went to a very excellent engineering class with this design, how we can turn this one space into two spaces. They did as a project. I chose Caitlin Williams' idea. So I'm looking forward to her name in the office to show that she is the designer of the new office space once it's done. So if approved, the work will be conducted for the winter break and will be ready by the time we return from winter. So let's move forward to approve the contract for $38,670.
Second. Second. Oh. Jack. All in favor? 12, agreement with Gender Systems.
So as part of the field project, we'll build a concession building / restroom, and American Modular Systems can provide a safe check building with a external amount. So I'm asking the board to approve this contract.
Motion? Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
11.13, a lease agreement number 1 for CES new teaching building.
To do liquefying soils in the proximity to the riverbank, the district will need to put mitigation measures in place. Our construction will deep soil mixing to the teaching of classroom site. Deep soil mixing involves mixing soil with a binder to create a stronger, more stable soil for earthquakes as well as since it's not on the riverbank.
Interesting. Second.
Second.
Come on. All in favor? 11.14, lease back agreement, site lease agreement and sublease agreement for CJSHS Field Improvement Project with FRC Inc.
So FRC is the highest scoring firm and was awarded the contract for the athletic fields of the project. So this is to actually do the field and turf. We're hoping to break ground in March. And so it's approved, we'll start having meetings with the functional events. So let's approve this contract.
Hey, man. Yeah, I've got everyone's attention. Construction services.
So this is a 2-year extension for the existing contract with Van Pelt. Their fees will be the same. They'll go through 2026. Once 2026 comes, we have to actually go when to if we want to have the phone.
So.
Second.
Second.
Fair.
Aye.
Moving items, 12.1 board reports.
We've reported a lot tonight.
At 12.2, board meeting calendar, Tuesday, January 1st, is our next regular meeting. So 21st.
Monday, February 3rd, and Monday, March 10th.
In the future, yes, our school accountability report cards, school site safety plans and student plans for school plans for student achievement. To open session. Closed session, thank you. So do we adjourn open session? Motion to adjourn. Fair.